Alright, ladies and gentlemen, YouTubers, it has come to this. This is my 2010 F-150. Completely restored it and everything. Got it running great. New timing guides, the whole 9 yards, and you can see my playlist. So, I've been driving it, and it's been running great. But the problem is, now and then, the cam phasers will go, what they call, I guess it's full advance, from the lack of oil pressure. Now I've got a new Billings oil pump. Great oil pressure on the bottom end. By the time the oil gets over there and comes over here, you know, the cam phasers aren't getting the oil pressure it really needs up here. You know, occasionally it'll kind of get that knocking sound and all that. And I've got new guides, new cam phaser gears and everything on it. So decided to go ahead and do the lockout on it. And you can see I've got the wedge tool down in there, and I've already got the bolt out and the gear off. Fits inside the garage. We'll look at that in a second, but lots of videos on this. I really didn't want to do it. I wanted to keep the engine the way it is. Really the only fix, or the way around this fix, is to actually have this line board through here, have new heads put on it or something. I probably would have done it earlier if I would have thought this would have still worked or not have worked. But at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and do the cam phaser lockout. And of course, eventually you're going to get a check engine light on, because your VVT sensors here aren't going to really work anymore. So let's go inside here and I'll show you what I've found so far. No leaks, no knocking from the engine. Most of the noise comes up here occasionally, and of course it's throwing a check engine light on for VVT sensors. First, here's the kit. Of course, when you buy them, they give you new bolts. They give you I got like 3 of these. They give you an extra one. The locking tool if you're doing a timing job and all that. And if you have to take your rockers off or anything, you get this special tool. But mainly, we're just going to concentrate on this. And there it is. I've got it apart, and I've got the spring out, which goes in a little hole right there. And there's the little thing there. But it's getting oil. You can see I got plenty of oil down in here. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and lock it out. But there are people on YouTube, if you send your computer to them, your transmission computer or your ECM, they will program it for you and send it back, and your check engine light will not come on. Although you will not be emissions compliant in states like California and New York, where they have smog emissions and all that. But for me, where I live, we don't do that in the entire state. So we're going to go ahead and try to get one of these in here. I'm not sure which one's going to fit in. There are several possibilities here, but you want the tightest possible one. And just for good measure, we'll put the spring eventually back in here, just so we don't lose it. Really interesting how that works like that. So, and let's see, all the bolts are out except the one right there, the one that holds that spring, keeps it wound up. Do not take it out, and make sure you mark when you're chaining all that when you take it off. Other than that, it's pretty simple. It's really a shame. What I might do real quick is go ahead and take that cap off out there and show you guys what it looks like and why we're losing oil pressure on the top end. Alright, let's get back up in here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this cap off. Now, here is a tip. If you got the check engine light on for, you know, the timing chain, you go in here and you do the guides for the VVT sensors and all that. First thing you want to do, you can go ahead and, you know, put your timing chain guides on and all that. But in order to find out if you're 100% sure that you're going to be able to fix this thing the right way, just pull one of these caps off here and just check. See all that scratching there? That's not what you want to see. That thing should be polished all the way across there, and there's why I am losing some of my oil pressure up here, and this is why that is why the cam phaser gears are not working. And I'm trying to keep the camera out of the sun so you guys can get a really good look at this. See that? That is just not good. So if you see this and you're tearing your engine apart, you're going to have a problem eventually with the cam phasers doing weird things, and you're going to end up getting a code and all that. So this is why I'm doing the cam phaser lockout for now. until I figure out better options. I really wanted to keep this engine in its original state, the way it was designed to work to begin with. But things happen, and maybe I can give you a better look down here on the cam. And there's scratches there, I can feel them. It's amazing, that little bit of scratching there, and of course it's probably worn down and on the other side of that head there a little bit, will cause oil pressure problems up here. This oil pressure upper has to be perfect before these cam phaser gears to work right. So that's that. So we're going to go ahead and put this together here. I got the chain kind of hanging here. Everything else is okay. Just a shame that that cam was like that. Now they can line bore these. You pull the heads off, or you can order 2 new heads for about $1,000 with it already done. But for now, this option will work for me. So get that together. All right, there we go. I take a little sandpaper, smooth that down a little bit on the edge there on these, because sometimes it's kind of hard to get them in the right hole. You want these tight. You don't want them loose. You want them as tight as they can get in there. So that should be okay there. And we'll put our spring back in and put it back together. It took me about a half hour to take that side apart and get down to this, so it's not too bad of a job. Alright, so let's put this on. Alright, it's all back together. If you have trouble getting these bolts in there, take a little screwdriver like this, and you can actually shove down in here and align this in the back up. Sometimes this back in the back gets off a little bit, but and also if you want to get this pin here back in here with this bolt, the spring is, I just take a file or something, just pick up on that spring like that and guide that bolt in there. So you're going to take a couple pictures before you take it apart, that way you know where everything goes. So everything's back together. Alright, so we'll go ahead and stick this thing back on. Alright, it's all back on. Now, if you're pulling up on your sprocket here and you can't get it to line up, I have a pair of vice grips on here. What you can do is take your bolt, which is already in there, go ahead and finger tight. That way you won't be dropping this. Then put your socket on here and take your vice grips and rock this cam back and forth until you feel that pin kind of going there. Then keep turning this bolt. It'll help you actually draw this up onto this cam, because it can be kind of a bear to get it back on there, because you have a little tension there on that chain. And also we got our tool here, wedge tool. It's been pulled out, and I'm not sure what I did with it. And there it is. Don't make the mistake of trying to turn the engine and forget that this wedge tool's down in here, because it'll pop back out. I've done that a couple times. So that's all back together. So we'll put the cover back on here and do the other side. So it wasn't too bad. Alright, so we got this side up. Pretty easy to do. I'll tell you what, this thing here, Auto Jar I've had for a couple years. Still rocking it, man. Still works pretty good. Makes jobs a little bit faster, although they don't have a separate battery yet for that. I'm checking to find out if they have other batteries, because people have been asking me about it. But anyway, let's get this thing out of the way. And it looks okay. I mean, like I said, these are new. But what we're going to do before we do anything, and I probably should have labeled this video or title it and put a thumbnail up so I don't waste too much time of people's time, or too much time of your time or my time or whoever's watching the video. If you're doing this and you think you can just replace the cam phasers and all that and take care of the problem, well, the first thing you need to do when you pull the valve covers off to verify is take this rocker, take these bolts out here and pop this guy off here. I'm going to have to tap that off, and let's check the wear on this. Alright, so I got that loose. Maybe 5 or 6 people will watch this video, I don't know. Let's see. I will say this was in bad shape too. Oh yeah. Well, see, if you see this, don't even bother with your cam phasers. Find out if you can get other heads or get this whole thing line board. They can put sleeve bearings in it and everything. There's some people do it on eBay, on YouTube. I don't know. You have to find out how you can get something like this done. But see, this is why I'm having that issue. So this is the first thing you really want to do, is pull off your valve covers, pull this cap off, and just see. But man, This cam here, it did have problems when I first bought the vehicle. And I was hoping I could save it. Well, at least the cam anyway. And I don't see no metal shavings, so. But anyway, we'll go ahead and pull this one off here. Put the lock phasers in and all that. But that's really a shame. It has to be that way. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but you can see just tons and tons of grooves, scratches in there. It looks like the same thing down here, and I can feel, you can hear that, hear it? My fingernail. That's not good. Oh well. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish up here. Put the cam phaser lockers in and all that. Alright, off comes the gear. And it's in good shape, and the pin is still there. And I saved the cam from earlier. It had a little bit of scratch marks on it when I first put it together, but I mean, you wouldn't think that little bit there on the back side what I just showed you, back here where this cap is, would be a problem, but the wedge tool's down in there. I got the chain kind of laying there, so let's go in there and lock this one out. Alright, so we got all the bolts out. Let's see if we can get this slide out here without me losing that pin. I'll have to loosen it up a little bit more. Alright, there we go. There's the pin and the spring. And you can see there's oil in there. And it looks like, for the most part, yeah, not a lot of oil, but it's in there. And you can see the pin's okay and all that, so we'll lock this one out. Oil seems to be, you know, pretty pristine. Look at it. I mean, it's good oil. I mean, I've changed the oil in this thing 3 times. But no use of crying over spilt milk, right? And everything back here looks good. Those pins are in, or this won't come apart. Like I said, these are new. So, anyway, what are you going to do? Bom, bom, bom. What you going to do when she says goodbye? Bom, 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 bom. Anyway. So, that's that. Alright. Alright, it's done. All together. I don't see anything wrong with it. So, just a lack of oil pressure, that's all it is. You know, if you get below, when your engine's full hot, if you get anything below 18 psi up here, you're going to have problems. That's just the way it is. So, alright, so let's put this one back on. Alright everyone, we're done. I sound a little discouraged in my voice. Well, maybe just a little, because I really wanted to keep this thing, you know, the engine completely like it was from the factory. But anyway, it's all torqued and done, and I got my red mark there. I didn't have any more white fingernail polish, but everything's lined up. Pour a wedge tool out. These things always scare me because I'm wondering how they made these. I'm always afraid part of it's going to stay down in there. But alright. Now remember, when you use this wedge tool, guys, there's a certain way it goes in there. This part on the top, where it's kind of bent, goes where the guides, the pressure part of the guides are on the top. Trying to remember the correct terminology. I'm out here in the heat, and my brain's not working very well. But anyway, the tensioners, you know, it goes up there. But actually, you know what? I thought maybe I broke part of it, but no, it's in good shape still. So anyway, all I gotta do is put the valve pan cover back on, start it up. I'm really curious to see how long it's going to take the check engine light to come back on, because I'm still going to hook the VVT sensors up and all that. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of a code I get, if it's going to be emissions, or it's going to be probably more or less a timing code, but I don't really care at this point. If it runs good, no more chatter, knocking and all that, then I've completed my mission for now anyway. Alright, before I close this up, you know what I decided to do? I wanted to pull one more random cap off here and just look at it and see how bad this thing got starved of oil before I got it, and see what it's like. And oh wow, can you see that? She's scarred pretty good, guys. So there's my problem on the top of this engine. So definitely going to have some new heads, or another option down the road. So anyway, all right, well, let's go ahead and put this back on and tighten everything down and drive her. All right, everything's back together. This is the nerve-wracking part. Doing a couple hours worth of work and finding out it didn't work. So we'll go ahead and do our first start. Double checked everything. Everything's back together. We got plenty of oil. And I don't see no reason why it shouldn't start up with no issues. So we'll see what the oil pressure reads. I got a digital gauge down here and one up here, which the oil pressure has never been a problem on the gauge. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. $50 pounds of oil pressure. 52, 53, 54. I've seen it go up to 60 before. I've got a Millings oil pump, high volume, but well, 63. Okay, anyway, we'll clear the codes. We got a bunch of codes from the other night, so we'll let her warm up, and we'll see how long it takes for this check engine light to come on. But I'm going to drive it a while and make sure we don't have no more cam phaser noises or anything when we go to slow down, when we lose oil pressure on those things on the top that we just got done dealing with, and we'll see how that works out. But let me go ahead and clear these codes. All right, let's go ahead and clear a bunch of codes here. Successful, and the check engine light is off. So right now, mileage, I don't know, is 183,350 miles, 0.6. I'll drive it and we'll see how many miles it takes for the check engine light to come back on, since we did the cam phaser delete and all that. So right off the bat, I got a cam shaft sensor A, bank 2. I've had a problem. There's a wire out there I need to check, but let's see. Oh, that's a permanent code, so that'll eventually go away. So we'll run it a while. That's from the other night. All right, so we'll be back. All right, so I've driven about 10 miles, and I looked down at the code reader, and I've already got the pending code at 0011, advanced timing. So that would make sense. So, but man, it runs so much better. Oh, I mean, just look at the oil pressure. I mean, I'm hot idle, 25 psi. I mean, it sounds great. It's really a shame that these engines have to deal with this cam phaser stuff. Now, mine has a 6-speed transmission. I found out I just simply can't have my computer programmed. Apparently there's an option for it. I'm waiting on an email to see what that option is. But if you have the 4-speed, it's not a problem. But I have the 6-speed transmission, so what are you going to do? But anyway, you can hear the engine. Let's see if I can get this open. Oh, there we go. Oh, she sounds... I mean, it sounds like it just came off the showroom floor. Listen to that. It's so quiet and smooth with all the new head gaskets. But in reality, I was hoping it would work, but I should have just put brand new heads on it anyway. So, but that's something I'll probably do down the road in the future. You know, spend $1,000 on it, $1,000, and buy new heads and get the oil pressure back up in the top end, because the truck's well worth it, man. I mean, look at this. It's a good looking truck. So I guess we'll head home. I'm hoping that code will come on as a pending code or permanent code, because right now, if I look at the gauge, I don't have it yet. So it'll come up eventually as a code. But yeah, she sounds really good now. So I'll drive her for a while until I make a decision down the road on what I'm going to do. So let's head back to the house. Alright, so I'm back at my home 20 for now, and the check engine light finally came on. And it is a P0011. Intake camshaft position timing over retarded advanced bank 1. And should be bank 2 too, I would think. Let's see. Yeah, bank 2 too. So, but man, it runs so much better. So, yeah, I can live with check engine light, and I can drop it down in gear. Still getting 20-something pounds of oil pressure, although the digital gauges aren't that accurate. You know, there is a ballpark figure, you know. Nothing beats an analog gauge. But, yeah. So, there you go with that, guys. She sounds really good. Well, I guess we'll end the video here. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching from right now. And I'm not sure what we're going to do later. Maybe put new heads on it. Who knows? But for now, we'll drive her. She's good enough. And hopefully this info that I did on this truck, the video, will help you guys out. Until my next video, guys, I'll see you later.